Today's video, I'm going to show how I finished the raw edges of a jockstrap pouch. This is the one we made yesterday. If I was going to sew it into a garment, I'd leave it like this, but this one I'm just going to make a regular jockstrap out of. These are raw edges here. You can use, there's several different ways to finish the edge. Some people fold it over and sew it. Then there's the braided elastic. It's this type, where you sew this onto the inner edge. And then fold it over. That's more for swimsuits. Since this is going to be a jockstrap, I'm going to use fold over elastic. It comes in lots of varieties, colors, 1 inch width, 3/4 inch width, 1/2 inch width. And some of it is slightly shinier on one side and slightly duller on the other. This black, it's kind of about the same on both. And it's got a center line crease. Makes it a little easier to fold over one way or the other. The first step I do is to take my fold over elastic and I start sewing it before I even put the garment in it. I'm going to use the lightning bolt stretch stitch. And I like to clip the end of it here so I have something to hold on to. Put it in the machine. Line up where you want the first row of stitches to be. And I'm going to sew it about between a 1/16 and an 1/8 of an inch from the raw edge here. I get it started. Then with the needle down, you take your garment, you open this up and put your garment in here, and you push it in as far as you can to the crease and as close to the needle as you can. Close it down and hold it. Now, when you use fold over elastic, it's really stretchy. And what you want to do is stretch it a little bit, maybe about 10% or so. Put it on your garment, and then hold it, and then sew a few inches. reposition everything, pull it about 10%. And the threads I'm using is for the needle thread, I'm using regular 100% poly cone serger thread. And then for the bobbin thread, I have the bulky or woolly nylon. And what you want to also do is when you're feeling this, make sure this is all the way to the crease, and that when you're folded over, you're consistent with this width here, so you're catching the bottom part of this also. It's easy to kind of overstretch it this way and you miss it, or wander off this way. So I only do like 2 inches at a time, stretched about 10%. And then just work your way around. And then if you go on eBay to look for some fold-over elastic, there's many sellers of it, but I only think there's a couple of companies that actually make it. So your best bet's to shop around for the best price and free shipping. And you literally have every color you could possibly imagine. And then if you go search for custom fold-over elastics, there's several different internet companies that do some printing, so you can get specialty printed fold-over elastic. You gotta pay attention when you go over the hump. Nothing shifts on you. I'm working around the bottom curve here of the pouch. That was 4 layers of apparel scuba knit and 2 layers of fold-over elastic it went through. With the bulky or woolly nylon in the bobbin, You don't want to sew very fast because it'll have the possibility of shredding the woolly nylon, bulky nylon. They're kind of transitioning the name to be just bulky nylon because people are confusing it when they say woolly nylon, that they think it's a wool product. It's not. It's 100% nylon. So I think the industry's transitioning to just to call it bulky nylon. That's the first row. Now I do a second row. This is the first row I did to hold it, and then I do a second row closer to the edge just to make it, I think it looks nicer with 2 rows of top stitching. In the second row of top stitching, you don't need to stretch it at all because it's already been stretched. It's already attached to the fabric. And for best results when you sew elastics is to go a little slower and try and stay at a consistent speed. Be mindful when you go over a hump. It'll tend to want to twist a little bit. Just hold it still the best you can, or align it the best you can. Now there's binding attachments you can get for your sewing machine. I've got a couple I've used. I just prefer to do it by hand. And that's how I do the fold over elastic finishing on my jock pouches. That's the exterior. This is the interior of the jock pouch. A couple of people on the video I did yesterday said why I didn't clip the edges of this on the curve. This center stripe is a flat piece. It was a rectangle sewn on a curve. So it's not as much as a curve to a curve. Like if I were doing this curve to this curve, I would have clipped it. But since this was a flat rectangle to a curve, pretty much allowed me not to be able to have to worry about clipping it. That's the interior. Like I said, the tops I just leave a little ragged because I'm going to true it up and decide what kind of waistband I'm going to do on it. So I make these a little taller so I can adjust the height to what waistband I want.